film that you have seen, what is it?
Burn After Reading.
Yes.
By the Coen Brothers. The follow-up to
the Oscar-winning No Country for Old Men, considered by many to be one of the best films of the 2000s. It was their big comeback after The Lady Killers and Intolerable Cruelty. They'd been gone for several years, made a triumphant comeback with a serious meditative drama about death and sin that everybody loved. What did they follow that with?
a wacky comedy.
Yes.
A wacky, quirky black comedy about spies.
Yes.
Where not much really happens.
No. So the film stars George Clooney, Frances McDormand,
John Malkovich,
Brad Pitt, and Richard D. Jenkins.
And Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton's in it. And recent Oscar winner J.K. Simmons is brilliant in it as well. Yes. The plot.
Yeah.
Yes.
As usual for Coens, it's a case of
mistaken identity.
Mistaken identity. A big mix-up.
Yeah.
So a very, very, very lowly member of the CIA, FBI? Yeah. Played by John Malkovich, is fired for being a drunk.
Yeah.
And he's writing his memoirs. He wants to write an exciting book. And Frances McDormand and Brad Pitt, they're very stupid. They work in like a gym. And they come across this CD that stores this guy's memoirs on it, and they think it's all like secret, important, coded information, about like the CIA and the FBI, and we're going to sell it, and we're going to make big money out of it. And they try to threaten John Malkovich into giving him money, and he's like, "What are you talking about? Do you know what you're doing?" And then they try selling the data to the Russians. And they're all like, all the CIA people are like, Russians? What? And it's the big break, and they're not doing it for any noble reason. They just want the money. Brad Pitt just wants it. Frances McDormand wants it so she can have plastic surgery. And Brad Pitt just wants it just because, well, he wants something to do.
Yes.
At the same time, Tilda Swinton is getting bored of John Malkovich. She kind of she's like a upstart British person, like all her roles. And she starts sleeping with George Clooney, who's like a amoral liar.
He's a internet dating scoundrel, basically. He goes on internet dating websites to shag sort of depressed women.
Yeah.
Sort of desperate women, because he's the way he also relates to the gym storyline is he's having sex with Frances McDormand
at the same time. Yeah.
Yes.
And
devising a chair.
Yes, devising a chair. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Tilda Swinton starts sleeping with George Clooney. They're kind of going out for all cheating on John Malkovich. John Malkovich gets kicked out of his house, and George Clooney goes into the, is now living in the house. And then like the Brad Pitt and Frances McDormand, we want to sneak into the house and work out some more information, get some more dirt on this guy, because they're said the Russians they can get more information, so they just try and stalk him. And through a series of circumstances, Brad Pitt ends up in a cupboard, kind of like in Blue Velvet. And George Clooney's just he's come back from a run, and he just shoots Brad Pitt by accident, and you can tell it's a huge web of like misinformation, mistaken identity, crossing paths for a plot that's ultimately inconsequential.
Yes.
Ultimately, this information is useless.
Yes.
Like it's nothing.
A bunch of greedy idiots. Die horribly for nothing.
Yeah.
It actually has parallels then to No Country for Old Men.
It does, yeah.
Where a greedy, naive fool, in a way, he's not an idiot, but he's sort of naive, is Llewyn Moss.
Yeah.
He gets a load of money and dies horribly for paying the price of his greed and naivety.
Yeah.
Which is similar in a way to what happens in this film. This film was really weird because it got a really, really mixed reception.
Yeah.
The big thing that the Coen Brothers get accused of is creating horrible characters who you can't sympathise with, and then they just punish them.
Yeah.
Which is like the criticism of their whole career. They've got it from every single film they've done, pretty much. And this film is pretty much the epitome of that. None of the characters are likeable.
They're all idiots.
They're all horrible. They're either idiots or sort of think they're more intelligent than they are.
Yeah.
And they all get punished for their stupidity.
Yeah.
Yes. So what did you actually think of Burn After Reading? Did you think it was a good film?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it took me a little while to get into.
Yes.
But when I got into it, I really enjoyed all the kind of the comedy coming from, mostly when Brad Pitt and Frances McDormand made the decision that they want to sell the information. I think it's hilarious how they'd be like, they got to go to the Russians.
Yeah.
And they're all like, obviously, that looks like in old movies, it's always like, oh, I'll sell the information to the Russians.
Well, it's like a Bond thing, isn't it?
The Bond
Sell
thing,
to the
yeah.
Russians.
Yeah, but obviously they've got no idea what they're doing. Like, they just turn up.
Well, they don't even know the Cold War's ended.
Yeah. Like, they turn up to the Russian embassy and they're like, we got some information to sell.
Yeah.
I mean, J.K. Simmons, who's like one of the directors at CIA, FBI, he's like, okay, well, that doesn't matter. Oh, is she trying to sell it to the Russians? Why the Russians? Fuck it, whatever. Just keep some tabs on there. Ultimately, everything that happens in the film is just inconsequential.
Yes.
And that's what I really enjoyed about it.
Yes.
I thought the performances were really fun.
I think Brad Pitt's great in this film.
That'd be good, yeah. So essentially, all the actors are playing like stylized versions of the roles that they're famous for.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton is kind of the uptight, cold British person. George Clooney is the womanizer.
Yes.
Frances McDormand is the kind of the, how do I describe her, like the lovable idiot.
Yes. So in like Fargo, she played like a pregnant detective who was on the case,
Like
but
a
a little
like
bit dim. Yes.
Yeah, like a wholesome but dim detective. Yeah.
Yes. In this, that's almost turned inwards.
Yeah.
She needs plastic surgery because she's quite vain.
Yeah.
She's not very smart, and it's but not in a cute way. She's just an idiot.
Yeah, she's stupid.
Yes. A lot of people at the time thought this was a satire of sort of modern culture. Like, they run a gym. There's a lot of stuff about dating websites.
Yeah.
Almost like the Coens talking about commenting on modern life and possibly how inconsequential it is again.
Okay.
So these people have no meaning from what they're doing, so they're looking for it in this labyrinthine plot
Of nothingness.
Of nothingness, yes.
Well, I was just saying to you that I watched this film on a train coming back from London.
Yes.
And I had my laptop and I was watching a movie. There was like an older man sitting opposite me,
Yes.
and he was drinking wine and stuff. And I finished the film, put my laptop away, and when I finished, he was kind of like, yes, the Coen Brothers do existentialism. And I was like, oh yes, it's been very interesting. Talk to me some more. We had a little mini discussion about how essentially since the plot is about nothing.
Yes.
Ultimately, the whole scheme of selling this money and all the information is pointless, and it's almost like he equates it to almost being like life itself.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
pointless and inconsequential.
Yes. I don't think this film's as deep as a lot of people seem to see.
No,
it.
I don't think it is.
Because I think this was just a case of, I think you've got to put it in their career as well. So they just made No Country for Old Men, and they were about to make A Serious Man, which is like one of their best films.
And
so
one
they probably
of
wanted
the
to,
most, one of like the most like,
yes.
they're dealing with the headiest subject we've ever dealt with.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that and No Country are so serious. I think they just wanted a blow-off one.
Yeah.
Just a fun little thriller. A lot of people also said this wasn't funny. I think it's funny.
I thought it was funny. I laughed.
Yes, the laugh out loud moment is when George Clooney reveals his dildo chair.
Oh yeah. That's really good.
Horrific dildo chair.
It all builds it through the film like I'm going to make this amazing thing, and it's
Yes.
really awesome.
Yes.
And it's like, oh.
Again, that's the story of a man who you believe he's going to do something important, but in the end he's just looking for some surface dildo pleasure.
Yeah.
So I can definitely understand that idea of it's being about existentialism and stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Where would you rate this in like the Coen canon? Because you've seen many of their films.
I've seen many of their films. I've seen most of them.
I've seen all of them apart from Lady Killers and Intolerable.
I would call it middling Coen.
Middling Coen.
Middling Coen is somewhere around the middle. It's not as good as like Big Lebowski or No Country for Old Men or Serious Man, yeah.
Not as good as Inside Llewyn Davis.
Not as good as Llewyn Davis, or not as good as Fargo. Not as good as Blood Simple.
I think it's in their bottom
Yes,
sort of
it's
5.
bottom, yeah.
Yes.
It's still really good. It's a testament to the quality of the Coens is that they took a silly little comedy and they're uninterested in it.
Well, it looks amazing as well. The actual look of the film is great.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks great performances, but just not as deep.
Yeah.
As there were films, because like The Big Lebowski is a comedy, but it's such a deep comedy about these different philosophical ideas.
Yeah, which is another one I watched, by the way. Because what spurred me on to kind of start cleaning up the Coens and not seeing was I rewatched Big Lebowski, which I might, I think we'll
you have to do that next, yeah.
So I really enjoyed watching that. I thought I'll clean up the rest of the discography, the filmography, and that's Burning Man. Burn After Reading was the one that I landed on.
Yes.
So no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's the most Coen Brothersy Coen Brothers film.
Yes.
It's probably the Coen Brothers and the most Coen Brothersy. Along with stuff like Serious Man, where when I think of their kind of plot styles, mistaken identity and
horrible characters
and crisscrossing of paths and webs and
yes, idiosyncrasies like that hair that Brad Pitt has.
Oh yeah.
Films are usually full of weird little moments like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
doesn't have a lot of their sort of standard cast though.
No.
Other than Frances McDormand and Brad Pitt, it's mainly people that they've not worked with before.
Yeah, that's true.
Wouldn't you've liked to have seen John Turturro in there?
Well, what about George Clooney? George Clooney's in.
That's what I said. George Clooney and Frances McDormand. He's sort of the one they bring out for their prestige pictures.
Oh yeah.
What was he in? He was in.
No Proof of Wear Out. That.
Oh, and Intolerable Cruelty.
Intolerable Cruelty, yeah.
Yeah, he's sort of there. We want to make a commercial film, reel him out.
Well, apparently on the set, George Clooney said, the Coen Brothers described those three films as being the Loose Idiot trilogy.
Yeah.
With George Clooney in the role, and George Clooney was like, "This is the last time I'm going to play an idiot."
Yes.
Or something like that.
It's probably the best film they've done with George Clooney.
Probably, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm really fond of No Brother Wear Out.
It's a very average film.
It feels like the kind of film where they did one draft, and they kind of went with it, but didn't do a second draft.
Yes.
It's filled with some nice ideas and some really good moments, but it's a bit...
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically just the Odyssey. It just feels like the Odyssey. I've put it in a fucking 20s context. Really.
Yeah. Well, we've been so clever.
Yes.
But no, honestly, Burn After Reading again, check it out.
Check it out.
I don't know what I'd give it in terms of a rating.
I think if I was to rate it, I'd give it like a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, I'd give it a high 7.
Yes.
7, yeah.
If it was any other filmmaker, you're probably looking at an 8, but because it's them and it's a minor entry, 7.
But it's good.